eligible to that office who shall not have attained the age of 35 years and been 14 years a resident within the United States. In the case of the removal of the President from office or of his death, resignation, or inability to discharge the powers and duties of the said office, the same shall devolve on the Vice President, and the Congress may, by law, provide for the case of removal, death, resignation, or inability both of the President and Vice President, declaring what officer shall then act as President, and such officer shall act accordingly until the disability be removed or a President shall be elected. The President shall, at stated times, receive for his services a compensation which shall neither be increased nor diminished during the period for which he shall be elected, and he shall not receive within that period any other emolument from the United States or any of them. Before he enter on the execution of his office, he shall take the following oath or affirmation. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Section 2. The President shall be Commander-in-Chief of the Army and the Navy of the United States and of the militia of the several states. When called into this actual service of the United States, he may require the opinion in writing of the principal officer in each of the executive departments upon any subject relating to the duties of their respective offices, and he shall have the power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. He shall have power, and with the advice and consent of the Senate, to make treaties, provided 2/3 of the senators present concur, and he shall nominate, and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate, shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers, consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other offices of the United States whose appointments not herein otherwise provided for, and which shall be established by law, but the Congress may, by law, vest the appointment of such interior officers as they think proper to the President alone, the courts of law, or in the heads of departments. The President shall have the power to fill up all vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their next session. Section 3. He shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the state of the Union and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. He may, on extraordinary occasions, convene both houses or either of them in the case of disagreement between them with respect to the time of adjournment. He may adjourn them to such time as he shall think proper. He shall receive ambassadors and other public ministers. He shall take care of the laws be faithfully executed, and shall commission all officers of the United States. Section 4. The President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for, and the conviction of, treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Article 3, Section 1. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges, both of the Supreme and inferior courts, shall hold their offices during good behavior and shall, at stated times, receive for their services a compensation which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. Section 2. The judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity arising under this Constitution, the laws of the United States, and treaties made, or which shall be made, under their authority, to all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, to all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, to controversies which the United States shall be party, to controversies between two or more states, between a state and citizens of another state, between citizens of different states, between citizens of the same state claiming lands under grants of different states, between a state or the citizens thereof and foreign states, citizens, or subjects. In all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, and those to which a state shall be a party, the Supreme Court shall have the original jurisdiction. In all other cases before mentioned, the Supreme Court shall have appellate jurisdiction, both as to law and fact, with such exceptions and under such regulations as the Congress shall make. The trial of all crimes, except in cases of impeachment, shall be by jury, and such trial shall be held in the state where the said crime shall have been committed, and when not committed within any state, trial shall be at such place or places as the Congress may, by law, have directed. Section 3. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them, or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of two witnesses to that same overt act or on confession in open court. Congress shall have the power to declare the punishment of treason, but no attainder of treason shall work corruption of blood or forfeiture except during the life of the person attainted. Article 4, Section 1. Full faith and credit shall be given in each state to the public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of every other state, and the Congress may by general laws prescribe the manner in which such acts, records, and proceedings shall be proved and the effect thereof. Section 2. The citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. Person charged in any state with treason, felony, or other crime, who shall flee from justice and be found in another state, shall, on demand of the executive authority of the state from which he fled, be delivered up to be removed to the state having jurisdiction of the crime. No person held to service or labor in one state under the laws thereof, escaping into another, shall, in consequence of any law or regulation therein, be discharged from such service or labor, but shall be delivered up on claim of the party to whom such service or labor may be due. Section 3. New states may be admitted by the Congress into this Union, but no new state shall be formed or erected within the jurisdiction of any other state, nor any state be formed by the junction of two or more states or parts of states without the consent of the legislator of the states concerned as well as the Congress. The Congress shall have power to dispose of and make all needful rules and regulations respecting the territory or other property belonging to the United States, and nothing in this Constitution shall be construed as to prejudice any claims on the United States or of any particular state. Section 4. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this Union a republican form of government and shall protect them against invasion on application of the legislature or the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. Article 5. The Congress, whenever two-thirds of both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendments to this Constitution, or, on the application of the legislators of two-thirds of the several states, shall call a convention for proposing amendments, which in either case shall be valid to all intents and purposes as part of this Constitution when ratified by the legislators of three-fourths of the several states, or by conventions in three-fourths thereof, as one or the other modes of ratification may be proposed by the Congress, provided that no amendment which may be made prior to the year 1808 shall in any manner affect the first and fourth clauses in the ninth section of this first article, and that no state, without its consent, shall be deprived of its equal suffrage in the state. Article 6. All debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation. This Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby, anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. The senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of the several state legislatures and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. Article 7. The ratification of the conventions of the 9 states shall be sufficient for the establishment of this Constitution between the states so ratifying the same. Word "the" being interlined between the 7th and 8th lines of the first page, the word 30 being partly written on erasure in the 15th line of the first page, the words "is tried" being interlined between the 32nd and 33rd lines of the first pages, and the word "the" being interlined between the 43rd and 44th lines of the second page. Attest William Jackson, Secretary. Done in convention by the unanimous consent of the states present on the 17th day of September in the year of our Lord, 1787, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 12th, in witness whereof we have hereunto subscribed our names. The signatories. Note: All signatories' names as written on transcription of the National Archives. G. Washington, President and Deputy from Virginia. Delaware, Geo Reed. Gunning Bedford, June. John Dickinson. Richard Bassett. Jacob Broom. Maryland, James McHenry. Dan of St. Thomas Jennifer. Daniel Corll. Virginia, John Blair. James Madison, Jr. North Carolina, William Blunt. Richard Dobbs Speight. Hugh Williamson. South Carolina, J. Rutledge. Charles Coatsworth Pinckney. Charles Pinckney. Pierce Butler. Georgia, William Few. Aber Baldwin. New Hampshire, John Langdon. Nicholas Gilman. Massachusetts, Nathaniel Gorham. Rufus King. Connecticut, William Samuel Johnson. Roger Sherman.